Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Hazel. She and I met about 12 months ago, maybe a little bit more than that. Time goes on, doesn't it, when we natter. And during the course of the conversations we've had, I found out she's had quite an intriguing lifestyle at times. And one or two of the stories that she was coming up with, I really felt you would all be interested in listening to. Something a little bit different. So Hazel, how did your lifestyle, which is quite varied,
Yes.
how did it all come about?
I got married and my husband was in the Merchant Navy, and luckily I was able to travel with him. So I packed up nursing. In fact, I gave up my job 3 weeks before he came home to see. He didn't realise I was giving it up, but I thought, well, I'm a woman, I don't work, I'm married. So anyway, I was able to go to sea with him, and one trip we flew into Singapore, joined the ship at 2 o'clock. It was a Canadian I think it was the Aerodonna. My husband was duty engineer that night, so we got on board, got shown our cabin. About 2 o'clock in the morning, the alarms went off, so he had to go down.
That's good.
I wear contact lenses, I had my lenses out. The next thing I know, I hear an alarm going. Well, I didn't know the cabin, so I'm wandering around, standing on the bed, trying to see what this red light was, and saw it said, general alarm. I thought, right, general alarm, I've got to get dressed in case I'm going to be chucked into the sea. Got to make sure I've got my life jacket on. Came out of my cabin to be greeted by a gentleman wearing 2 pieces of string around his arms and 2 pieces of string around his legs and a little short vest. And he said to me, I did it. I said, oh, that's fine, I'll let the captain know. So I managed to get up into up to the bridge. Captain wasn't there, it was first mate was there, and to hear out that we'd got pirates on board.
As you do.
Yeah.
I told you she was interesting.
Anyway, to begin with, my husband, the thing he heard the general alarm going, rang up to say what's going on, and they said pilots on board. And my husband thought, we dropped the pilot off a couple of hours ago, and he said, pardon? He said, no, pirates. The next thing, the crew came round, had gone through the galley, down into the engine room with pieces of wood, knives, anything they've got, searching for the pirates. Then anyway, we sort of checked around and realised that the only person that was missing was the captain and his wife. And so he then, the first mate said, right, we better leave it. So we left it about 20 minutes. Then they decided they'd realised that the pirates had actually left. After checking all around, there was nobody there. So the story ends up in that when they go to a ship, most ships, the chief radio officer has the money on shell ships, but they actually don't have it on normal ships. It's the steward. And so the pirates had gone into the steward, tied him up, wrapped him up in a duvet, and the air conditioning didn't work on the ship, so it was about 37 degrees. He actually looked over, saw one of the gentlemen, they were wearing balaclavas, all in black, and thought, I recognise you, I'm sure you're one of the people who come and bring the stores on in Singapore. The second one came over with a knife and said to him, look away, you don't know us, and you'll be safe. Anyway, they took his rings, his jewellery, money, camera, and then they went up to, and he said, I don't have any money. He didn't tell them where it was. Anyway, they went up to the captain's cabin, entered it, wasn't expecting to see a woman.
Oh.
So they tied up the captain with the rope that they'd stolen from the rope locker, much to the annoyance of the third mate, because they didn't take old rope, they'd used a new rope, so he was really cross. And then saw his wife and said, oh, we can't tie up a lady with rope.
Honour amongst thieves.
Yeah, they were surprisingly, they did have a line that they were above and below. Anyway, they then said, oh, she's got some silk, because we'd just been to Singapore and bought some silk. I'll rip this up. She said, oh, don't do that, please use the rope. I've just bought that, I don't want you to rip up my silk. And he said, no, it's all right. So they stripped it and tied her up with that. They then went through, the captain has a safe, took his money and whatever else was in the safe. I think it was $2,000, I think they got out of the safe. They went through the drawers and they asked to call the jewellery from the wife. And then as they were going through the drawers, he saw this red jumper. And he actually said to her, may I have this red jumper? And she sort of said, well, I'll barter it, give me back my engagement ring, and
Yeah.
you can have the red jumper. And so he said, he tipped out all the jewellery, realised that the engagement rings when they first met, so it wasn't as worth.
Right.
The other was more worth value. Gave her the ring back and said, thank you very much, folded up the jumper and took it away. Then they got out and then they disappeared. So that was our...
That is amazing.
That was...
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, Singapore is a beautiful city.
It is.
Changed an awful lot.
Yes, yeah.
As I'm sure you would say.
I wouldn't recognise it now at
No.
all. Change Alley is
I mean, if
gone.
I was in between 10 years between one and the other, and
Yeah.
being there, was it last year, February last
Oh,
year, and the difference even in that time, but my goodness me. No, I flew in and flew out.
Yes.
So you didn't,
Well, I had my
you can
first...
go by, so don't go by cruise ship from there. Oh, actually, no, we sailed out, of course, because we boarded the cruise ship. Yeah.
Well, when I was going away to sea, my husband and I were watching Songs of Praise.
Yes.
And they saw the pilot ladder going down at Brixham and the pilot ladder going up. And he said, that's how you join ships. I said, don't be so silly. I've seen the
yes,
band,
it
I've
is.
seen the gangplank. First ship, turned up, out at anchor, right up, all the way up to the top.
Scary.
So it is, yeah.
Scary. But what an amazing experience, but fortunately not as bad as it might have been.
No, they did 11 ships that night.
Did they?
And they killed the chief engineer on a Swedish boat.
Oh,
Because I think they fought against them, so they
Yeah,
knifed them and
yeah.
threw them overboard. But it was very common in the 80s.
was it really?
Yeah, it was,
Do you miss that kind of life?
No, I don't think so. I did it for 4 years
Right.
and managed to go almost everywhere. Bar we didn't go to Russia and we didn't go to South America. But other than that, thankfully, the company paid for me to travel around the world.
What an amazing
It's
time.
lovely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. You're
And
welcome.
I would say to you, hopefully we might be able to have another chat about something else where you've been.
Tell you when I got locked up in China.
That would be very interesting. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate